Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing tonight? Kittel Dispatch, what's going on, man? Ferg, how you doing? So, tonight's episode will be a little bit different than the last one. It's more of like a question and answer. As a new trucking company, we've been getting a whole lot of questions as far as people who are interested in getting to the trucking industry, but just really don't know where to start. So I have a list of questions that I've gotten that I'll kind of go over. And if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, let me know. I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to look it up. And it should be an educational opportunity. The goal is for it to be an educational opportunity for everyone, including myself. So hopefully we can all kind of walk away with some more knowledge than we had before. So just a little bit about our company. The name is Pelican Logistics. We've been in business since October 2018, so about 2 years. Right now we own 2 semi trucks, and we're just running semi. I know last week we kind of talked about the box trucks, but as far as our company, we're just doing semi trucks right now. So like I said, we've been in business for about 2 years now. We don't have our own authority. We lease on to another company, and we're running mostly over the road right now. So my name's Ellis. I'm one of the partners. So we decided to go in as a partner. Partnership is 4 of us. And so, kind of when we first started in the industry, we didn't know anything about it. So I'm sure like a lot of you. And it was just kind of like one of those things. We were kind of playing with the idea. We had a group message on the phone, and one of us had a friend who was in the industry, and he had kind of been learning about it. And so he was like, yo, let's get some trucks, and we kind of laughed about it. But 2 months later, we found ourselves at the bank trying to get a loan. So, our goal going into it was just to have another, to invest, really. We didn't want to be drivers because we all already have jobs. So our goal was to invest in trucks and to get drivers so that we can create another stream of income for ourselves. Let's see. We can wait a little bit longer, just until we maybe get a few more people. Just before I get into the main questions that I've gotten. So one of the big questions that I always get, do you need a CDL to get into the trucking industry? No, you do not. But, everybody has a different goal when they're getting into the trucking industry. What's going on, Mama? So, everybody has a different goal getting into the trucking industry. If you want to get in as a driver, you'll need, as far as with a semi-truck, you'll need a Class A CDL, which you have to go to school to get. Like I said, as far as us, none of us, the owners, we don't have our CDLs. We didn't really have any desire to drive. We wanted to have a different role in the business. So for semi trucks, yeah, you do need a Class A CDL. We talked last week or the week before last about box trucks. You don't need a CDL Class A for a box truck, really just a regular license. Some states or areas may require a chauffeur's license. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry about that, somebody was at the door. So for box trucks, usually you can just kind of get away with driving with your regular license. Some places may require a chauffeur's license. And if you just want to be an investor, of course, you don't need a license at all. You just need the capital to invest in your equipment, your trucks, trailers, and, you want to be able to pay your drivers and have the ability to hire drivers. Another question that I get pretty often is, do I have to have an LLC to start a trucking company? No, you don't necessarily need an LLC in order to start your company. So you can really just start your company under your own name. No one says that you necessarily need an LLC. But for tax purposes, you may want to have an LLC. The taxes, as far as with a business, can be a little bit different. And to limit your personal liability. You never know what's going to happen in your company. Every business, of course, has its own level of liability. But you want to decrease the personal liability as much as you can. So if anything happens, you don't want them to be able to come after you, your property, your home. So by using that LLC, you decrease that personal liability, and you can run your business as a separate entity from yourself. I'm not an attorney or an accountant, so as far as the specifics of an LLC, the specifics of an S Corp, I'm not really sure about the exact specifics. I know changing your LLC to an S Corp allows you to be taxed a little bit differently, and you may actually get some tax breaks by becoming an S Corp. So if you have an accountant that you can talk to, you have an attorney you can talk to, I would recommend talking to them. And yeah, D, you're right. Always get an LLC and insurance, especially if you're dealing with in the trucking industry, because there is possibility for damage, possibility for loss of cargo. You want to make sure you protect your drivers, protect your investment. So you're absolutely right. A lot of people want to know, how do we find drivers? So, finding drivers, how will you handle maintenance and repairs? Okay. So, Cynthia wants to know how we handle maintenance and repairs. So I'll go into that next. But as far as finding drivers, so, just number one, your drivers, that's going to be the most important part of your company, because without your drivers, unless you're going to drive it yourself, which, like I said, we don't have our CDLs. If you don't have a driver, your truck's just not going to move, point blank, period. You can't make money without drivers, so you have to, find reliable drivers, and you have to find drivers who, you have to be able to take care of your drivers. And so it can be tricky finding drivers who are qualified, who are reliable, and who are a perfect fit for your business. So a few of the ways that we've gone about finding drivers: Indeed. You can go on www.indeed.com. So if you post your job description up there, a lot of times drivers will apply. What's going on, Issue? What's up, boy? So a lot of times if you post your job description, tell what you're looking for, what you're hauling, what kind of truck you have, and what the whole situation is, what your pay is, drivers will actually apply from Indeed. Craigslist. Craigslist can be hit or miss, but it definitely is an avenue you can go through to post your job description and find drivers. Trucking blogs, forums, groups, Facebook groups, websites. You can go on there, you can register to use those sites, and you can solicit the drivers through there. A lot of times, even word of mouth. We've had some drivers that we've come across just through word of mouth, just from doing good business. So as long as you're doing good business, taking care of your drivers, not creating any animosity between people, then you should be able to maintain your good standing and create a good rapport so that you can have drivers referred to you. So yeah, issue like you said, description should definitely be professional. So like when you're putting up your description of your job on whether it be Indeed, Craigslist, whichever one, you want to make sure you have a very professional description. Not a whole lot of fluff. Just get straight to the point. People want to know what they're hauling, what the hours are going to be like. Is it going to be local? Is it going to be over the road? Is it going to be regional? Are you paying by the mile? Are you paying percentage? Are you doing flat rate? And put your contact information so that they can get in contact with you. Also, if you're leased on to a company, you may even want to include that so that they can see, look into the company that you're leased on with. Staffing agencies. Personally, I haven't had very much luck with staffing agencies to find drivers, but they can work. You can look at local driving staffing agencies in your area. One thing about a staffing agency, though, they will take a percentage or a finder's fee for getting the driver, which a lot of times you can do the finder's fee and you can kind of pay some type of plan so that you hire the driver solely to your company after some period of time, but that's something you'll have to work out with the staffing company. Another question that I've gotten is, do you need your own authority to start your company? So actually going back to your description and finding your drivers. So, your big two options as far as driving, you have OTR, which is over the road, and then you have local. Not gonna lie, most people just want to drive local, but you're gonna make most of your money going over the road. You're doing long hauls, picking up more miles. There's just opportunity for more money. You don't need your own authority from the start. Most people, it varies from situation. You may be in a situation where, hey, you don't have any crazy overhead with your trucks. You have some customers, you can afford the insurance, then hey, I'd say go ahead, go straight for the authority. But if you're just getting into the business, you don't have very much experience, you're just trying to kind of get your feet wet, learn the business, I say just find somebody to lease onto. Of course, they will take a percentage. But when you lease on to someone, they usually take care of your dispatch. You may be able to lease trailers from them. You may be able to lease trucks from them. Sometimes they'll even be able to point you in the right direction as far as drivers. And then you get to learn the day-to-day operations. You can learn the way that they operate. So, like I said, personally, we don't currently operate under our own authority. For one, we're getting experience. And our situation's a little bit different. Because we have multiple partners who've gone into the business. And so, we really have to make it make sense before we opt to go under our own authority. How do I finance my business? There's several different ways that you can go about financing. Number one, a lot of people like to go through a bank. Banks are good, but they know that the trucking industry can be pretty volatile. So with them knowing that, you have to make sure you come with a really strong credit score. You need to have a strong business plan because they want to know that they can get their money back from their investment. You can do group funding, group financing. You can get creative with your financing. You may not necessarily request your money for a trucking company. So just get creative with it. You can even do a GoFundMe. You know, that kind of goes into the group funding. But you know, even a GoFundMe, you'd be surprised at what people would be down to help you with. Again, how do I find companies to lease on to? Indeed, Craigslist. You can even go through trucking groups and forums. So those have actually been helpful for us. If you guys know of any other ways, if you have experience in finding companies to lease on to using other avenues, let me know. But that's was where we've been successful. Have a solid business plan. Again, if you're going to try to get financing through a bank, make sure you have a solid business plan, because you know at the end of the day they want to know how they're going to get their investment back. Going into this, you know, we really didn't have very much experience in the trucking industry, and we were just kind of going off current numbers in the trucking industry, and going off of blogs and word of mouth, what we were hearing from our peers. Excuse me. So, although we didn't get financing from the bank, we did actually come up with a business plan. And so this is actually a business plan that we had created one when I was in nurse practitioner school. So I just took that business plan, changed the numbers, came up with the financial analysis in the current trucking industry. We put the information for our current partners, and just, you know, made it into a trucking business plan. If you already have a business plan, you know, you can do the same thing, just kind of change it to trucking. There's plenty of templates out there on the internet that are available. And so this is just kind of what we came up with. You know, the steps aren't really that difficult for starting a trucking company. You know, anybody can do it. You just have to know what those steps are. And so there's actually a few books that I use going into the industry to kind of give me a little bit of information and knowledge where I didn't have it. So this book right here is called Big Rig Business Startup, and this is by Roy Evans, if you guys want to go check it out. So I bookmarked some of the things that kind of stuck out to me. Applying for a trucking authority. So it kind of goes through the steps for applying for your authority whenever you're ready. Right here we have a business plan for your trucking company. So it even tells you how to go about writing a business plan. What else we got? Trying not to be too long-winded tonight. I don't want to make the video too long, but so it talks about 7 ways for funding your business. So we talked about the different ways of funding. This goes into a little bit more depth. Yep, and even it talks about how to hire drivers and how to keep your drivers. Like I said, your drivers, that's the backbone of your company. If you can't move your trucks, then you can't make money. So you want to make sure that you're able to move your trucks. Let's see. So we have a question. How did you decide what type of freight you wanted to haul? So it really wasn't a difficult choice. So we went to an auction and we bought a refrigerated trailer. So they call it a reefer trailer. And so with a reefer trailer, usually haul refrigerated goods. So that's what we haul, refrigerated goods. If we had a dry van trailer, we'd be hauling dry goods, which actually a reefer trailer can haul dry goods as well. So it really just depends on the equipment that you have, or the capability that you have, or what your driver wants to do. You know, you can rent trailers, you can lease trailers, you can buy trailers from auctions. There's plenty of ways to get your equipment. But, you know, your equipment's going to really determine what type of freight you can haul. We're a member of the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. No, we're not. And actually, I'm gonna have to look into that. This is actually my first time even hearing about it. So thank you. I'm gonna look into it. One more book that I want to show you guys before I got out of here. Trucking Company. This one's by Gus Bowen. It's a good book as well. Pretty much a lot of the same information that's in the other book, but just from a different perspective. So if you guys want some resources for starting your company, you can use those two resources. Let's see. Do you suggest paying by the load or by the mile? So that depends. It depends on how far you're driving. So if you have, so let's say you have a route every day and you're driving from Houston to Dallas. Okay. Houston to Dallas, you don't really have very many miles in between. So if you're paying your driver by the mile, they're not really going to make much money. So with that, you may actually want to pay by the load, but if you're going further distances, by the mile may make more sense. So it really kind of varies from situation to situation. So it kind of depends on what the driver wants to do. If you have a driver that likes to drive really long distances, then it makes more sense to pay them by the mile. But if you have someone that doesn't necessarily like to be over the road, and they prefer being more regional, then percentage of the load may make more sense. So that's about all I have for tonight. I hope that this session was informative and that it gave you a little bit more insight into the industry than you had before. I'm available for questions, even when I'm not on live. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me, hit me up. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you want to hear. I'm not a pro. I haven't been in the industry for very long. But if you do have questions that I don't understand or I don't know, I'll look it up and we can learn together. So if nobody has any more questions, the plan is to actually try to do these like every other week or every other Sunday. So like I said, if you have anything in particular that you guys want to hear about, that you want to learn about, DM me, let me know, and we'll try to get it done. All right. Love y'all, peace, and y'all stay safe out there.